All right, we got the Jeep back in the shop here, and we're going to do a couple more upgrades. Today I'm going to be installing the Hayden Rapid-Cool electric fan. Now this thing's already got an electric fan on it here, but we're going to do some upgrades. We want to show you the installation procedure here. So I'm going to be installing this new convenient slim fan here. It's going to be a pretty straightforward installation. The components all come in the kit here, so we'll show you how to mount that on the radiator here. And there's a couple additional cool things from Hayden. They've got an additional standalone controller here. Comes with all the wiring required and comes in this great little kit here. This is a pulse width control module which automatically changes the motor fan speed based on the temperature input. You can adjust your set points anywhere between 90 degrees and 210 degrees Fahrenheit. Once this thing reaches 10 degrees above that maximum set point, it's going to turn the fan on to maximum full speed. This really allows you to create your own custom temperature profile. And when the AC is turned on, this thing will even engage the fan as well. If you're familiar with how AC works and we need good airflow across that condenser, this is very important for good operation of the AC system there. Of course, this thing has full EMI suppression, and it's also got a high current and high temperature shutdown protection feature as well. So because this is a race application, I've got a switch on the dash there, and so I'm going to wire my fan up to that switch. Of course, it's a fuse protection circuit, so I'm not going to necessarily install this controller there, but on some of my other projects, such as a Jeep that I use for trail riding, additional off-road applications, this is a great addition there. Check it out. All right, well, let's remove our old fan here first off. So I'm just going to disconnect the wires there. And then I'm going to use cutting pliers, and I'm just going to snip off the end of the ties that were holding this on previously. So I'll just go to the 3 locations that were used to hold it down here, and I just need to snip them off. I can slide these washers off. Yep. And of course there's always the one more that's hidden somewhere. So, simple as that to remove our old fan. And you can see it did a nice job holding some debris in here. Probably did a little bit of self-clearancing in here at some point. So now I'm just going to go along the back side and remove the rest of the tie-down component. There, so I've got my ties removed, got my old fan removed. It's not a bad idea to take some shop air and gently blow across the fins here. We want to make sure that any debris is removed here. This thing's actually going to get a new radiator at some point before we end up at the show. So I'm going to do the installation here. But you see that we've got some wear marks in here. That's another good indicator to replace the radiator itself. So I've unpacked the components from the kit here. We've got the new ties which we'll go through. We've got some little pads here which are kind of all stuck together, so I can pop those apart, and they've actually got a hole inside of here. So the way this is going to go, I'm going to actually take these little springs, slide them on here first. That's going to just hold some tension and give this thing a little bit of play. Then once I get it through the fan, I'm going to put the pad between the fan and the radiator. It's going to give a little additional spacing and some cushion there so we don't do any additional damage. Then on the back side, I'm going to take one of these retainers and slide it over. And it's just like a zip tie. That'll lock itself in place. Of course, now I got my old fan out of the way, I want to kind of mark where my new fan's going to go. Obviously, we want to get it centered here, get it straight, and kind of go with some of the core lines on the radiator here. Make sure we're not going to have any interference there. And now we're ready to begin our installation. I'm just going to make a little mark right there and right there. So I'll see a little bit of a spacing. Now I'll slide this in place and get another one put together here. Okay, so now I've got my components kind of assembled here. I'm going to slide the first one all the way through. Then I will move over to my second one. Again, I want to make sure that we're lined up properly where we had our marks previously, and simply slide this all the way through. Now on the back side, I can reach through and pull it in. You can see here how the spring helps give it a little bit of cushion. And now that I've got those two in place, now I can go to my lower ones and assemble the same piece. Next, I just have to go on the back side, install the retainers, trim them to fit, and we'll make our electrical connections. And just like that, we've got our new fan installed. So we've got all of our ties sticking through. And so now on the back side, I'm just going to take my retainer and slide it over here, slide it all the way up, pull it tight. I don't want to get too carried away, because remember we have that spring in the front, so we want to give a little bit of play to it. But then when I'm done here, I'll cut it off flush, and I'm going to repeat that process with all 4 ties here. And just like that, we've got our fan mounted. Now you'll also notice I've got a different fan, mechanical fan mounted on the water pump here. Really no purpose for this. There's not a shroud here. This thing doesn't do a whole lot. We've got this great electric pusher fan mounted here now. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this as well, free up a little space, and hopefully gain a little bit of horsepower. These mechanical fans do rob some power there. So we're going to get that out of the way as well. All right, well there you have it. We've got our new Hayden fan mounted here to the front of the Jeep. You can see the benefits of having the spring and those foam cushions in there. It's got a little bit of give. This thing's still, it ain't going anywhere, but it's got a little bit of play, especially in a race application like this, or off-road race application, where it's going to be bouncing around. And so with those foam spacers in there, we've got good clearance. The electric motor or the fan itself is not going to be contacting the radiators that previous one was either. So hopefully now you understand the benefits and how to install your Hayden Rapid-Cool electric fan.